So next section, a lot of authors' works, because there's a lot of authors in this time period. I did not go into all of them because I found a archive that had about like I think it had like a few thousand works. I'm not gonna go through 1,000 people, but I can go through a few. Afraben is the first one. They focused a lot on like women's rights because it's the 1600s. People kind of sucked at being like, man, they're people too. Uh, Second person I'm going to talk about, George Etheridge. They wrote The Comical Revenge and Love in a Tub. Oh yeah, Afraben. They wrote Uranoko in 1688. I don't know how you say it. I'm going to guess that's how you say it. But George Etheridge, I don't really remember what years it said that he wrote it. Small next person, no one knows about him, Isaac Newton. They wrote Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica 1864 1868, and New Theory About Light and Colors in 1672. They also developed a manuscript for De Analysi de per equations numero Terminorum Infinitas in 1669. Once again, no one knows Isaac Newton. Who's that guy? Uh, Next person up, we have John Bunyan, who was an English preacher and wrote The Pilgrim's Progress in 1678. Next, John up, because we have a lot of Johns for some reason. Actually, that's not surprising that a lot of people have the name John. uh, he lived from 1631 to 1700. He was a poet, dramaticist, and wrote satirical verse. He wrote Mac Flecknoe in 1682, The Medal in 1682 again, to his to his sacred majesty in 1661, and an essay of dramatic poesy. I think that's how you say it. 1668. He also wrote Alt for Love in 1677, and his poem Ablasom in Akitophel in 1681. There's John Evelyn, who wrote diaries and insightful chronicles of the time period for quite a bit. There's John Locke, who was a philosopher and political theorist. He wrote two treatises. Two treatises. Not he didn't write two treatises. He wrote two treatises. Fun and essay concerning human understanding. Kind of important. Guy no one knows about, definitely not at all. John Milton wrote Paradise Lost. Don't know what that is. There's also John Wilmot, Earl of Rochester, who was a prominent satirist whose witty poetry reflected stuff about the area. Era. Bleh, 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 bleh. It was Catherine Phillips, who wrote To My Excellent Lucasia on Our Friendship in 1667. I think that was also a female writer that focused on gender equality. I think. I am not 100% sure on that. I think. Pretty sure. Then we have Margaret Cavendish, who wrote The Blazing World in 1666. They were also gender equality searching. We have Matthew Prior, who worked on a bunch of things. Oh, that light's flickering. I don't like that. There's Richard Steele, who wrote The Tatler. Okay, this is not cool. All my notes decide to be unitalicized. He wrote the Tatler in 1709, and wrote The Spectator in collaboration with Joseph Addison. I don't think I had him. I don't know why I didn't. There's Samuel Pepys, I don't know, who wrote diaries from 1660 to 1669, showing events like the Great Plague, Fire of London, and intrusion of the Dutch in Thames. What a great time to be alive and just be like, man, things are happening. This is not fun. We have Samuel Butler, who wrote satirical poetry, I'm gonna guess this is said either Udibras or Hudibras. There was Thomas Shadwell, who wrote The Virtuoso in 1676. We have William Congreve, who was a playwright and poet who wrote a bunch of comedies. He wrote The Way of the World and Love for Love, which are noted for being really good. And then we have William Wycherley, who wrote The Country Wife in 1671. Now, there's a few relations between all the stuff that happened in the British Restoration and how it affected modern works. Why is that light flashing so much? I think Leather Ghosts are really mad at me for talking about them this long. So the works of the time pretty much embraced focusing on oneself and less focus on religion, which happened quite a bit. I'm pretty sure, like, the Enlightenment, I think, was one of those times where people were just like, was Enlightenment or Renaissance? Might have been both. But it was... The stuff also became more focused on political figures, which also happened quite a bit before. It just became really important for a bit this time, too. There was also the development of novellas, which were really important at the time because everyone was like, man, look at this writing style. It's cool. We can write a lot of stuff like this. There was also more focus on themes, prose, and periodical essays, and also couplets, because couplets are really nice. And there was a lot of sciences and philosophy also studied during this time, which was implemented into literature to be not only more realistic, but also to expand a lot of the focus of the stuff at the time. Sorry, the light is going to make me get angry. That thing is not fun. Okay, so a few of the sources that were used in this is Smith George's Isaac Newton article, which was posted to stanford.edu on the 19th of December 2007. There was Stump W. Darrell's An Economic Consequence of 1688, albeit a quarterly journal concerned with British Studies, Volume 6, Number 1, found at Appalachian State University, made in January of 1974. Yeah, 1974. There is Thornton Heather's LSU Scholarly Repository. That's just who made it. Scholarly Repository, LSU Scholarly Repository. Why does it have the thing twice? Master's Thesis Graduate School of 2005. Restoration, Religion, and Revenge Restoration. Why is it repeated? That's gonna... a bunch of the written books I found, written works I found on, what was this? The UPenn online library, which I did not expect to find because it was amazing source for just a bunch of stuff. There was also the Isaac Newton from 1642 to 1721 High Altitude Observatory site by UCAR, which was made 2025. There was, I don't even know what this was, LibGuides British Literature from 1660 to present, which included Restoration, the 18th century, which was quite a great thing to read up on. It gave me a lot of the information I used. There was a short but very, very helpful Restoration era novels page, which was by, I don't even know who made it, which is really sad because I'd really want to give them credit. But it was on Fiveable. There was a page of the Dutch Invasion of England, 1667, which is by Thayer. It was a, it's on Chicago, uchicago.edu. There was a page, the early modern period, uh, found on the Eastern Connecticut State University site. The U.S. history rule. That's not Britannica. Britannia, the English Empire, 1660, 1763, Charles II, and the Restoration colonies. Also, really helpful site. And finally, the view of political and religious battles of the English Restoration by someone on Illinois.edu. All these sites really, really helpful if you want to check them out. They're put somewhere on the works cited page, but I believe that is it for now.